Hi, I'm Fred Valles. I'm the author of this piece on Search Engine Journal, and it's about what you should be doing when Google match types change once again due to the close variance change. And this is in September of 2019 that the change is going to happen. So exact match keywords no longer mean exact match, and now phrase match and broad match modified have also been changed. Google can now show your ads when the query is not the same, but when they consider it to be same meaning. So in a response to that, I think there's a couple of things you need to do. I'll cover 3 of them, and then we'll go in depth on the third one, which is monitoring. And I'll show you how you can easily do that using the tool that we've built at Optmyzr. So thinking about exact match, no longer being exact match, what you really have to think about is that bidding and bid automation is probably important, so that if Google starts to figure out, hey, maybe this query is kind of the same meaning of your actual keyword, maybe that shouldn't have the same bid. But if you're doing manual bidding, it just means it's creating a lot more work for you. You have to monitor that, be really on top of it. So it might be worth considering doing some bid automation. So then Google could say, okay, if this is like a lower quality variant of that keyword that you have, at least they're setting the lower bid and they might still hit your CPA target or ROAS target. So that's number 1 in this article. Now, for automated bidding to work properly, this is kind of basic, but remember, you have to have a correct attribution model. And usually that's not last click. If you do last click attribution, Google's automated bidding is going to start ignoring everything early on in the consumer journey, everything high up in the conversion funnel. And we can discuss whether the funnel still exists or what the consumer journey looks like. But basically the point is you have to associate some value to each interaction that a customer has with you, even if it's just a little bit, because otherwise Google's, the automated bidding is going to start ignoring some of the traffic that could actually potentially be very important to you. Now, the third piece of this article is that you can use the concept of automation layering to monitor Google's own automation. So remember, close variants are something you cannot opt out of. You have to use these. They're on by default. They cannot be turned off. So what do you do to make sure these are working well for you? Well, you have to monitor it, right? So you could go in and manually do that monitoring, or what I'm advocating here is that you build your own automation to stay on top of what Google's automation is doing. And there's a script that I've put in this blog, so you can grab the link to that script and you can install it. But for Optmyzr customers, there's actually an easier solution than this script, and I wanted to show that to you. And even if you're not an Optmyzr customer, we do have a 2-week free trial. So if you want to run the solution that we have for 2 weeks, not pay us for it, that's totally fine. I would love it. You'd still see all of the cool stuff we're building. So let's go and take a look at what we have in Optmyzr. So here we are now in the Optmyzr interface, and I've already gone to the rule engine, which you can find right here. Now we've got a lot of pre-built rules already, but what you will want to do if you haven't used this is click on Use an Instant Recipe. Okay, so once we go into Instant Recipe, there's one that I've pre-built for you, which is called Report on Close Variants. So I'm going to click that one, and I'm going to select it. Okay, and we can skip this step for now. We'll come back to that in just a second. So here's a preview of the logic, and you don't have to pay too much attention to that either. We'll just go ahead and preview because I want to illustrate to you what this is doing. So what we're doing is we're pulling a couple of reports in the backend from Google, one for search terms and one for keywords, and we're matching these two together. And so now you can start to see here on each row is an exact or phrase match keyword where Google was doing a close variant. Okay, so the matched keyword from your account was keyword generator. It was a phrase match keyword, and it showed up for the search term meta keywords generator. And why was that? Well, the query match type for the search term. So Google says it was a phrase match, but the close variant subtype of that. Now, if you were to go into the reports from Google for search terms, you would see this is actually a standard match type that they actually cover. So you don't really usually see this in the interface of AdWords, but you will see it in the Google Ads reporting. So each line here includes one of these instances of either an exact or phrase close variant. And then you see the stats for both the search term as well as the keyword. So you can even do a comparison and see how well that search term is performing, even though it may not be the exact that you were looking for. Okay, and so at this stage, what you can see here is all we're doing is we're reporting. So we're putting this together so you can quickly see what does Google consider to be close variants of my keywords. And you can go through this list and figure out if they're doing a good job or if they're not doing a good job. Now, the best thing about the rule engine is that you can customize it quite a bit. So say that you wanted to take automatic action and keep an exact match. Well, it'd be very easy to do that. So this is how this rule engine works. It says here that we're evaluating each search term of this account. And if it meets these criteria, then this is the action we want to take. So you can spend a bit of time understanding these criteria and how that identifies exact close variants. But the point here is, let's say we wanted to make it a negative. So I'm just going to add one more action for that search term. I'm going to add it as a keyword, and I want to make it an add group level negative keyword in the exact match type. So there you go. Now that's done. Instead of just reporting on it, it's also going to suggest making it a negative. And then ultimately, we could do this as a one-click optimization, but we could also put this on autopilot and just automate it to run by itself daily. And we would keep your exact matches as exact matches. So if we preview this one more time, we're regenerating this page here that we had the preview on before. And now notice there's actually two things we were doing, right? We were checking exact close variant and phrase match close variant. I've only done the change that I showed there to the exact matches. So I'm just filtering for those. And now you can see that there's actually a new keyword we would be adding. So in this case, our keyword was the exact match Optmyzr. Kind of hard to see, but it's a typo. So the person here left out the Z between the Y and the R. So we're going to make that a negative exact match keyword in that same ad group. And then, like I said, from here, you could just instantly apply that to the account or put it on an automation schedule. There's also a cool little thing we have here. It's the analysis. So if you wanted to understand how many keywords were evaluated and which criteria they met and did not meet, you can look through this. And so you can see that condition number 1 of recipe 1 was the one that got rid. Actually, that matched quite a few search terms, but then in the second step here, only 11 out of 331 continue to match. So if you wanted to understand what the rules are doing, you can match these conditions back to the rule that you have, that you took from us or that you've custom built yourself. So anyway, you can put this on autopilot, and negative exact or negative exact matches can be added to keep your exact matches exact.